One of the biggest highlights, though, came right after Lamb of God, the first supergroup, otherwise known as Tom Morello's All-Stars. If you don't know, Tom Morello was the musical director of the event. He got a lot of these artists on board for the show. And this first supergroup was one of the things I was most looking forward to, aside from Ozzy and Sabbath, of course. And that is in no small part due to the inclusion of Jake E. Lee, who really has been fairly inactive in recent years, ever since Red Dragon Cartel kind of went away, even though he sends out all of his updates and stuff, communicates with his fans through their Facebook page, but they're not really an active band anymore. I don't even know if they exist anymore. And Jake E. Lee, he does some interviews from time to time, but not the most public guy in recent years. And so when Back to the Beginning was announced and Jake E. Lee was on the poster, that of course was a big source of excitement for me, for most everybody. I mean, who doesn't love Jake E. Lee? And I think a lot of people, myself included, were hoping to see Jake play Bark at the Moon, which he did acknowledge recently in an interview, but he also said it was difficult with the injuries that he sustained from when he was shot last fall. So he actually said that he wanted to do Ultimate Sin, which is in fact the first song that the supergroup played. After Jake finally showed up, he was a bit late to the stage, so everyone kind of stood around waiting, and they actually started to chant for him, and then he finally did show up. I think I saw somebody in the comments of the live stream say that he made a total rock star entrance, and that's exactly what it was. But he did finally make it out, maybe 30 seconds or a minute or so after he was supposed to. And the lineup for Ultimate Sin included, of course, Jake E. Lee, Lzzy Hale on vocals, Nuno Bettencourt, which was so great. I love Extreme. I love Nuno. He is certainly one of the greatest of all time. David Ellefson was also there on bass, along with Mike Bordin drumming and Adam Wakeman on keyboards. Then they went into Shot in the Dark, and David Draiman from Disturbed came out in place of Lzzy. And yes, as I'm sure you've seen, there were some boos in the crowd when he came out over his political stances, which he did address in a post on his social media, but that's really a topic for another day. The rest of the band stayed the same for that one, except I believe Nuno was out for just that one song. Nuno was there for the other 4 songs that the first supergroup did. After that came Sweet Leaf, which of course included Draiman, Nuno, Mike Bordin, David Ellefson, and then Scott Ian from Anthrax returned to the stage. And then after that, it was Believer, another Ozzy cover, where Whitfield Crane from Ugly Kid Joe came out in place of Draiman, and I thought he did a great job on Believer. Also with him was Frank Bello from Anthrax, Adam Wakeman, Nuno, and 2 from Sleep Token. I was pretty surprised when Back to the Beginning was announced to see 2 as one of the additional performers, but it was pretty cool, and his new costume, I think, was super, super sick. So that was cool to see him come out and drum for a couple of songs. But in my opinion, the best cover of the entire event was the 5th and final song from the first supergroup. The song was Changes, one of my all-time favorite Sabbath songs, and it included Nuno, 2, Frank Bello, Adam Wakeman, and Yungblud on vocals. And my God, he just absolutely fucking crushed it. I really didn't know what to expect. If I'm being honest, I probably did not really have the highest of expectations, but oh my God, dude, just ridiculously good for real, and by far one of the biggest highlights of the entire show for me. Yungblud absolutely knocked Changes out of the fucking park. So all in all, Supergroup A was great. All the singers did a good job. The guest musicians did great, but without a doubt for me, it was seeing Jake E. Lee perform and Yungblud do Changes that were the highlight of the first supergroup. But with that, let's skip ahead a little bit and compare how Supergroup B was in relation to the first one, because there were quite a few heavy hitters in the second one. It began with a Symptom of the Universe drum off with Travis Barker, Chad Smith, and Danny Carey, which was really, really cool to see. Obviously, all 3 are great drummers in their own right, and they were joined on stage by Nuno, as well as Tom Morello, and the great Rudy Sarzo, which was awesome to see. I interviewed Rudy Sarzo like a year ago or something. I'll put a link to that down below if you want to check it out. We spent a long time talking about Randy Rhoads and all that. So again, that'll be linked below if you want to see that. And then next up were Breaking the Law and Snowblind, which featured Billy Corgan on vocals, Tom Morello, Adam Jones, Danny Carey, Rudy Sarzo stayed, and then KK Downing, which was so insane to see, so badass. When Back to the Beginning was announced, it was a bit surprising to not see Judas Priest on the bill. given how many legends were taking part in this thing. And when Sharon said that she kicked a band off of the bill, some people thought that it was them, but it was not. Rob Halford actually said that the band was invited to play, but they had already committed to the Scorpions 60th anniversary show in Germany. That was on the same day as Back to the Beginning, so it really was just logistically not possible. Rob Halford, I think, would have loved to be there, so definitely a bummer to not see Priest, but at the same time, who knows if KK Downing would have been there if Priest was, and KK is just awesome. He's a total badass. His band KK's Priest is killer. I strongly urge you to check them out if you haven't. So it was super, super cool to see KK Downing do a couple of songs at Back to the Beginning. After that was Flying High Again with Sammy Hagar doing vocals. Nuno returned to the stage along with the great Vernon Reid of Living Colour, which was so sick. A way underrated player in my opinion. Then we also had Rudy Sarzo, Adam Wakeman, and Chad Smith. I gotta be honest, at least in my opinion, Sammy Hagar did not really nail Flying High Again. He did not really do the song justice. I mean, he's a great singer, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Sammy Hagar is an incredible vocalist, but when he was singing Flying High Again, I mean, a part of me was like, does he even know this song? I mean, he really is such a great singer, like I said, and then he even said like a month or two ago in an interview that he was doing Flying High Again, so he has had plenty of time to prepare for it. He's known for months that it was going to be the song he was going to do, and vocally speaking, to me at least, it really just did not turn out so good. The rest of the band was great. I was really not that impressed, though, with Sammy Hagar's performance on that one. But the same lineup, minus Vernon Reid, then did Rock Candy, of course, the old Montrose song. Sammy did much better on that one than Flying High Again, in my opinion. And then up next, we finally heard Bark at the Moon. Sadly, not with Jakey Lee, but Vernon Reid returned, along with Travis Barker, Rudy Sarzo, Adam Wakeman, and Papa 5 Perpetua from Ghost on vocals. Overall, it was a solid cover. It seemed very fitting for Tobias Forge or Papa, whatever you want to call him, to sing. He did a good job with that one. It was great to hear that song. And like I said, I think it was very fitting for Papa to sing that one. But regardless of how good any of the second supergroup was, it was about to be completely overshadowed by the final supergroup singer. Motherfucking Steven Tyler showed up and performed a few songs. Obviously, it's been very well documented and publicized that he's had some issues these last couple of years, and the farewell tour had to get canceled, the band went into retirement, etc., etc. I think Steven did perform a few months ago at a benefit event for Janie's Fund, but I believe this was Steven Tyler's first public performance, at least in recent memory. Unfortunately, his grand entrance was kind of ruined because he was, I guess, having mic issues backstage before he came out. So I guess he couldn't hear himself, but we could hear him on the stream. I don't think he could hear himself, but if you were watching the stream, you could. I don't know if you could hear him if you were at the show, but on the stream we could hear him. It was pretty funny. He's like, I've got no mic. So then when the host, Jason Momoa, introduced him, it's like, well, kind of took away from the surprise because we already heard him. But anyways, he came out. They did Train Kept a Rollin' with Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones. That was insane. Super, super cool to see. Nuno, of course, was there. Tom Morello, Rudy Sarzo, Travis Barker, and then Andrew Watt, who was, if you don't know Andrew Watt, he was heavily involved in Ozzy's last couple albums. He was also heavily involved in the last Stones album, Hackney Diamonds. But I gotta say, Steven Tyler sounded absolutely amazing. Better than I've heard him in quite some time. In my opinion, one of the best vocal performances of the entire show. I didn't even know that he was going to be there until that group photo came out, like a day before the show, I think it was. If it was announced that he was going to be there beforehand, I definitely missed that, but that was just insane. But after Train Kept a Rollin', they went into Walk This Way and then Whole Lotta Love with the same band, minus Ronnie Wood, and then Chad Smith was replaced with Travis Barker. Again, not enough good things can be said about Steven Tyler's performance. I really, really do hope that it leads to more down the road. Maybe a few more Aerosmith shows, a proper farewell show in Boston, something like that. There has been some stuff in the news lately about Aerosmith maybe doing some more shows. I don't know. That's a topic for a whole nother video. We will see, but seeing Steven Tyler at Back to the Beginning was certainly a major highlight of the show for me. Both supergroups certainly had their fair share of highlights, some moments that were just okay, but if I really had to pick one overall, which one was better, for really no reason other than I want to, I guess, I don't know, but it is a tough decision to make. I don't know. I guess I would maybe have to go with Supergroup B, only because of Steven Tyler and how insane that was. But lest we forget how great that Changes cover from Yungblud was. And of course, seeing Jakey Lee appearing for 2 songs was incredible. So I don't know, maybe B, but I also think maybe A was better. I don't really know. But I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Let me know which supergroup you think was better, A or B.